G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel. And in today's video I'll be going through my early bottom 10 ladder predictions. We'll do the top 8 another day. First we'll do the bottom 10, so it's my early times. It's that time of year. I'm just going to give my early thoughts on how this ladder is going to shape this year. So without further ado, I guess we should get straight into the video. There might be a few controversial calls here and there, but let's just get straight into the video. Unfortunately, my wooden spooners for 2025 will be the Richmond Tigers. I feel like it's going to happen again, really. They don't have any depth in their list. They don't have any experienced players. Lots of players left the club, like Shai Bolton, Daniel Yoli, all these great players. And I feel like the only good players have of experience is kind of Floston and Shaw and Morris Rioli and Taranto. They're not that experienced players, so it's just really concerning sides. They're in a really big rebuild at the moment, the Richmond Tigers, so I actually feel a bit worried with the new draftees as well, and many of these players that are experienced are out of form as well, so they haven't been really good. So in experience wise, I feel like they're like last, and then they have not got no experience whatsoever, and I feel like they're just going to finish wooden spoon again. I don't think I can put anyone else in this position, but the person that deserves the wooden spoon best is Richmond. The team in 17th position might come to you as a shock. I have the Melbourne Demons. In fact, I actually do have the Melbourne Demons, and you guys must be wondering, why are you having the Melbourne Demons in 17th position? Well, there's lots of reasons why I have them there. It's just that I feel like they do have the depth and stuff, but the way they played last year wasn't that convincing. And I don't think this year, I feel like they're going to be the biggest drop-off this year. Actually, I feel like it's going to shock many people watching at home this video. It's going to shock many people throughout the season, seeing Melbourne finish in 17th. I feel like it will happen. Like, I know if I look back to this, I would be looking like a stupid idiot at this point. And what I'm saying right now, you guys might be like, oh, what is this guy saying? Well, I do think the Melbourne Demons will finish in 17th, and I really do believe that. Now, the team I have in 16th position that hasn't left the bottom four for about 5 or more years now is North Melbourne. Unfortunately, I have to have this team in 16th position because they haven't really shown any light. I mean, they have their young players look fantastic, like George Wardlaw, Bailey Scott, Colby McKercher. But with the likes of Caleb Daniel leaving the side, coming into the side, they might rise up a bit, like one spot. But I don't see them getting out of that bottom four. They do have very young lists. They have Jack Darling as well. So I feel like it's going to be an alright list with Jack Darling as well. It might look a bit more experienced. They are lacking that experience, and I feel like Jack Darling can do that. But I feel like they're going to finish 16th either way. They still have a young team. Of course, Paul Curtis, a young gun for them, and Luke Parker as well joining their club. But I feel like the North Melbourne, they just need a bit more experience, and I feel like in another 3 years they'll be flying. Now in 15th position, I have the last team that's just closing out that bottom four is the West Coast Eagles. Yeah, they've had some big ins though from Richmond Tigers, like Liam Baker, many players as well. It doesn't come off the top of my head, but they've got so many ins, but I don't feel like it won't click to get them out of the bottom four. They might be that team that shocks the league and just gets up and about, just be one of those exciting teams like Hawthorn were this year. I wouldn't be surprised if something happens like that this year, because I also have Harley Reid. But I feel like this year they're gonna rise just a bit with more experience. But you never know, really. They can actually be a top 8 side. You wouldn't believe it. Next year they could absolutely be flying through the ranks. But in this video, I'm gonna have to have them in 15th position. Now the team I have just sitting out of the bottom four is the Gold Coast Suns in 14th position. Well, this was a hard decision to make. Like, I was like, will the Gold Coast Suns be a good team? Will they be a bad team? But they do have some guns, I'll tell you that. They have a cracking midfield with Tuke Miller, Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell, and many other players that can just blow your game away. And I think those players can do something, as well as Mac Andrew. And they also got John Noble, a couple good players from the Richmond Tigers. Danny Rioli, of course, a big in. So they do have some good players, some good recruits as well, and some good draftees. So I feel like you won't be wondering why I have them sitting in 14. They never have made the top 8. They've never made the top 8 in their whole entire, AFL history. They're a new club to the AFL, but I don't think they're going to make it again this year. I don't have faith in them. I'm going to put them in 14th. Now, I've got a mid-table side here from the Essendon Bombers. I'm going to have them in 13th position here. Trust me here. I'm going to have them in 13th position. I feel like they're not going to have a banger year, like make the top 8 or anything. They're kind of that mid-table side because they don't have the best of players. Let's be honest. They don't have the best of players, and they do have... they're a mid-table side when it comes to experience. They do have a couple of great players in there, like you would expect. Zach Merritt, what a gun he was in 2024. He was absolutely ripping in the side. But that's really the only player you can see from this year who's had a really, really good year. Of course, Kyle Langford, he had an average year. There was a couple of other players that had average years, but I feel like Zach Merritt was a big standout. But if he pops off in a couple of other players, I feel like he can make the top 8. But if it's a standalone player, I think they're only going to make it in 13th position. Now in 12th position for the Fremantle is going to go to the Fremantle Dockers. I feel like they are a good team. They got lots of wins, like Shai Bolton, who's going to be probably the best trade in the competition, and I feel like he's absolutely going to be a massive influence to the Fremantle Dockers to do well this season, but I feel like they're going to finish 12th, unfortunately. They do have some great players, of course. Michael Walters, but he's getting a bit old. Nat Fyfe is still there, but your A-game players are like Andrew Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong, Luke Ryan. You know how good those players can be at times. I feel like they can really explode this year or really just fall off. I feel like there's nowhere else to put them but that mid-table side, so that's why I've got to put them in 12th position. So I'm going to have the Dockers in 12th position. Now, a team I have falling from that top 8 from last year is going to be the Carlton Blues, unfortunately. They do have some good players, of course. Patrick Cripps, the best player in the AFL. They have some great players, some youngsters as well, like Jesse Motlob, but Harry Mackay stand out. Sam Walsh as well. And like Charlie Kerner, of course. How much goals did he kick? He didn't win the Coleman. It was Jesse Hogan who stole it from him. But I feel like they're going to drop off though. I feel like they're going to drop off just like 3 spots. I feel like they're not finals bound next year. I feel like they do have experience, but I don't feel like... They lost Matty Owies and they didn't get much players, did they? They got someone from the draft, Jetta Walsh, I think. I don't think he's going to be a big impact as well. So I'm actually concerned for Carlton here. Now in 10th position, I have the GWS Giants. It seems like a shock probably to you guys, but I have them falling from the top 4. I seriously have them falling from the top 4. I know it's a shock to some of you guys that a top 4 team, but always a top 4 team falls from that top 4. Let's be real. I just have them falling. But I feel like there's reasons to why they would probably fall this year. I feel like they won't have... They do have the depth, but I feel like there's going to be a couple... They have Jesse Hogan, but I feel like he's going to fall off a bit this year, let's be real. I feel like he will fall off a bit. He won't be like his prime year like this season. He might kick 40 goals, and I think Toby Green is not also going to be that good, so I feel like they're going to be a bit of patches where they need to improve. That's why I got him in 10th. Now the last position I have for this video is 9th position, and dreadful one, missing out on that top 8 is just going to be the Western Bulldogs. Of course I do have great midfield, Adam Treloar, Bontempelli. Of course they finished like 7th, lost in the elimination final, but always an elimination final team has to slip out. And I feel like the Bulldogs will be that team. Adam Treloar, Marcus Bontempelli they may have, but they do have some underdogs as well, like Sam Darcy and all that. They're probably one of the more underrated, underrated lists in the league, but I feel like they're going to drop off this year, unfortunately, due to, well, they are decent, but I feel like many of their players are young, but I feel like many of their players would drop as well. Like, there's some players that would rise, like Cody Waitman and all those guys that will have breakout years, but I feel like they'll drop a bit, and that's why I got him in 9th. Like and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new to the channel for some more content, and leave your bottom 10 predictions down below because I want to review them and see what your bottom 10 predictions are for this year. And of course my top 8 predictions will be coming out very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that, and there's some more quality coming your way. See you guys next time.